This is a really hefty geared head from NEEWER, and it comes with this extension tube here, which I've installed onto here, and it's on there pretty tight. But the reason why they include this is because if you notice, this is the bottom of the tripod head plate here. And you'll notice how this part here kind of sticks out, it extends beyond the bottom of this plate, and so does this part here. So if you were to mount this on top of your tripod plate and your tripod had a round plate that was wider than this, it might run into this part or even this knob. So they included this extension tube here to work around that issue, to lift up the head overall off of the tripod plate. Now, there are degree indicators on all of the axes. So this is the pan axis, and this is the tilt axis, and then you have a Dutch axis here. The bubble level is on top of the plate here. I actually would have liked to have seen a bubble level on the bottom of this part here, because at least for video shooting, I want to make sure that my tripod base is level, and then I can adjust the tilt however I like, and maybe I want to add some Dutch, but at least I know that my base is level. Because I can always go here and look at the degrees, see that I'm at 0 and 0, and theoretically, if my base is level, the top should be level to the ground. So let's take a look at some of these knobs here on the side. If you want to make fine adjustments, you turn this knob, and you'll notice, look up here, how the degrees, it used to be at 0 and now it's increasing. If I turn this the other way, it turns that way. So this is great for making fine adjustments to the camera. If you want to make quick adjustments, you rotate this silver part here, and you'll notice it's got a little edge here, so you just twist, and then you can, I'll have to hold the bottom of the tripod here, but then you can make bigger adjustments. So when I twist that, I can turn it freely like that. When I let go, it releases, and then the gear re-engages, and I can't turn it anymore. I have to use this knob on the side to make those adjustments. The same thing goes with the tilt axis here. So if I twist this, I can then adjust the tilt like that, but when I let go, it locks into place and I can't move it. So I have to use this knob and turn it. I'll turn it back to 0 there. And the same thing goes for this Dutch axis. Let's take a look at this plate here. You'll notice that this plate actually has its own pan adjustment, so I can rotate the camera on top of this pan plate. It's an interesting design there. This is the locking knob for that control, and then there's a bubble level on the side here, but I can also loosen this, and this will slide back and forth like that, but it will also come out like so. And this screw, it doesn't have a side handle on it to make it easier to tighten by hand, but it does have a pretty wide slot in there that you could use a coin to tighten if you don't have tools on hand. Now this is the retaining bolt there, so it won't slide out accidentally if it just loosens a little bit, but if you do loosen it enough, it can fall out, so just be careful that your camera doesn't fall out if you're not holding it. So overall, this doesn't give you a whole lot of adjustment here. And the other thing I want to point out is that, all right, so notice how this axis for the pan is not aligned with that screw. So you may not want to use that axis for pan and tilt. If you do want to use this as a pan tilt head, I would probably try to line up this axis, because this center seems to be more in line with that center. So I would actually use this for adjusting the tilt. So this becomes tilt like so. And then the side one here becomes Dutch, and I probably wouldn't use that in normal circumstances for a video head. I do plan on using this more as a video head because I plan on having this mounted onto a fixed tripod on a fixed shot, but I want to be able to make very fine adjustments to the pan and the tilt for the camera without having these, you know, like a ball head where you loosen it and the whole thing is loose. With this, I can just make very fine adjustments just by twisting this knob a little bit, just to trim up my shot. So again, I would probably use this axis for the tilt because it is more in line with the center axis there. But you'll notice from the top though, it's not lined up there. So if you are concerned about the shift in terms of the parallax effect, the top of this is not in line with the axis here. But overall, you can mount this. So I have this really short tripod here that's really for tabletop, and it's pretty thin, but it will mount to that. It's got a 3/8 thread on here, so you just need a 3/8 thread or an adapter to a 1/4-20, and then this is a 1/4-20 inch screw for the camera. And that's what it looks like once it's mounted.